keep it moving now. Don't you see what I'm doing? Let's get it, 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 let's get it.
Over at Dixie High, the Flyers hosted the Pineview Panthers. On the first play from the line of scrimmage, Dixie had a bad snap, but it was scooped up by Seth Takal, and his lineman cleared a path for him, and he was off to the races for a 68-yard touchdown to give Dixie an early lead. Pineview looked to retaliate as Tyler Brown took the snap and fired the ball across the middle to Dominique McKenzie, who had a big pickup, but the ball somehow became loose and Dixie recovered. Dixie didn't waste any time as Bronson Bartman dropped back and fired a deep ball to the speedster Shea Anderson, who caught it in stride for a 65-yard touchdown to put Dixie up 14-0. Pineview stuck with the air attack as Brown tried to force a throw, but would be picked off by Mamau Toffee. Dixie, with all the energy, would hand it off to Takao as he bulldozed his way into the end zone to extend Dixie's lead. In the second quarter, Pineview looked to get back in the game as Brown found Dominique McKenzie, who would break 4 tackles and speed his way to a 52-yard touchdown to get the Panthers on the board. On the ensuing kickoff, Pineview would pooch kick and the ball would be misjudged by the Flyer return team and Pineview would get the ball back. And Pineview capitalized on the turnover as Brown would connect with Tyson Moten in the end zone to make it a one-score game. Dixie, losing a little momentum, needed a big play, and Barban would make it happen as he hit Mason Kesterson for a 70-yard gain. Then it was Takao who would finish off the drive with a 7-yard run up the middle. Pineview would get a field goal right before halftime with a big 47-yard kick from Austin Cogan. In the second half, Dixie looked to extend their lead as Barban found Jaquale Mitchell down the sideline for 32 yards. But Pineview's defense came up big with a goal line stand and gave the ball back to their offense. And this will bring us to our Jones Paint Glass Play of the Week. On their own 1-yard line, Brown would overthrow his receiver and be picked off by Gage Dempsey, who would take a big hit on the 1-yard line. Then it was Jeffrey Christensen who would punch it in to keep Dixie in the driver's seat. Pineview would move the ball down the field with a few good plays, but ultimately would have to settle for another long field goal from Cogan, this time from 46 yards out. Dixie would add one more score as Shea Anderson would take the sweep to the outside where he had a few blockers out front and then dive to the pylon as he added the last touchdown of the game and punched Dixie's ticket to the state championship. The final score, Dixie 42, Pineview 20. Up at Ridgeline, the Riverhawks took on the Crimson Cliffs Mustangs. Ridgeline would take an early lead with 2 touchdown passes from Caden Cox to Stratford Simmons. Crimson Cliffs got on the board on its first possession, which ended on a 15-yard touchdown pass from Gunnar Orr to Kona Crowell. On the first play of the second quarter, Easton Drube punched the ball into the end zone for a 1-yard rushing touchdown. The extra point was no good, leaving the Mustangs behind 14-13. Later in the second quarter, Ridgeline's Noah White scored on a 23-yard run. The Riverhawks converted a 2-point conversion and took a 22-13 lead with 4:28 left in the second quarter. That ignited a scoring fury as each team scored 2 more touchdowns before halftime. Crimson's Drube made a 5-yard scoring run early in the fourth quarter to put the Mustangs within 8 points. Shortly thereafter, White caught a short pass in the middle of the field and scampered into the end zone. The final score, Ridgeline 49, Crimson Cliffs 34. Ridgeline will face the number 4 seeded Dixie Flyers in the 4A title game scheduled for next Friday at 11 a.m. at the University of Utah. The Region 10 recap is brought to you by Findlay Volkswagen, Infinity Title, The Rally Stop, Jones Paint and Glass, Nets on Fire, and Intermountain Sports Performance. For St. George News, I'm Aaron Crane.